All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are jumping into a really powerful story. It's a kind of philosophical face off that gets at a huge question. Is it better to try and conquer the world, or to find peace by just letting it all go?
So let's dive right in. What we're looking at here is a symbolic showdown, an exploration of two totally different ways to live. One is all about action, struggle, and ambition. The other, it's about quiet detachment and finding peace on the inside.
So the scene is set with these two incredible figures in two very symbolic places. First, you've got Zarathustra. He's coming down from his mountain, which stands for ambition, for struggle, for the will to literally shape the world. And then you have the Nazarene, sitting peacefully by a spring, a symbol of inner calm, a retreat from all that chaos. We're talking about two completely opposite ways of being.
Okay, so first up, let's really get to know the man from the mountain. We have to understand the worldview of this guy who isn't trying to escape the earth but wants to master it. The absolute core of Zarathustra's philosophy is this idea of the will to power. And look, this isn't just about, dominating other people. It's a much deeper idea. It's about the fundamental drive that's inside all living things, to grow, to overcome obstacles, and to reach their absolute highest potential. So Zarathustra looks at the world and he sees a challenge, this raw material. And from his perspective, the Nazarene's quiet approach is just a retreat. It's a mere survival tactic in a world that is practically begging to be commanded and shaped. And this is absolutely crucial. For Zarathustra, the goal isn't just power for power's sake. The ultimate goal is to create a new kind of human, the overman. And this is a person who doesn't just tolerate suffering, they actually use it as fuel. They embrace every single part of life, the pain, the joy, all of it, to become something more. Okay, now let's shift gears and look at the man by the spring, because his reality is built on something totally different. His world isn't one of striving and conflict. It's something else entirely. The Nazarene's power doesn't come from getting involved with the world. It comes from a radical, total detachment from it. He's all about this natural simplicity, the state of peace you get by just letting go of the world's struggles.
And check out how he redefines kingdom here. For the Nazarene, his kingdom isn't a place on a map, it's not a throne you can sit on. It's a state of being, a condition of the heart, where all the noise and chaos of the outside world just can't get to you anymore. Just think about that for a second. What does that actually mean? If you exist entirely in that state of inner peace, then ideas like enemies, guilt, punishment, they become completely meaningless. He hasn't won the struggle. He's just abolished the entire game from within himself. All right, so here we go. We have the active man of the mountain and the passive man of the spring. What happens when these two opposing but incredibly powerful philosophies finally come face to face? From Zarathustra's point of view, this inner peace is really just a form of weakness. He calls it a will to nothingness, which is a fancy way of saying it's an escape from reality. He believes the Nazarene's soul is just too sensitive. The source uses this great word, neurasthenic, which kind of means nervously exhausted, to handle the brutal truth of life. And the Nazarene's response here is just brilliant, because it perfectly shows his perspective. He doesn't argue, he doesn't fight back. He simply explains that the whole struggle that Zarathustra embraces has just been transcended. It's been totally abolished inside him. In his reality, there are no enemies to fight. This chart really lays out their core differences. And you can see, this isn't just a simple disagreement. We are talking about two completely different operating systems for life. One sees the world as a project to be built, the other sees it as a storm to find shelter from. Their goals, building a future versus realizing an instant bliss, could not be further apart. But Zarathustra is not done. He has one more card to play, and it's a huge one. A powerful concept that really defines his philosophy, Amor Fati. It's not just accepting your fate, it's the active love of your fate. So Zarathustra basically argues that the Nazarene died too early. His theory is that if he had lived longer, he might have found an even greater strength than non-resistance, the power to look at all of life, including the most awful, pointless parts, and still love it because it's yours, to love fate itself. But here's the thing. In the end, Zarathustra's final judgment isn't a simple rejection. He doesn't just walk away thinking, that guy was weak. No, he actually comes to a much more complicated, more subtle understanding of both their philosophies. He actually recognizes a certain nobility in the Nazarene's total withdrawal from the world. He calls him the only true Christian for achieving his inner kingdom instantly. But, and this is a big but, he sees that path as not enough for the future, a future where humanity has to build its own meaning after the death of God.
So this is really what the whole parable boils down to. We've got two different ways of affirming life, of saying yes to it. You have the active yes of Zarathustra, climbing the mountain, using your will to master reality. And then you have the passive yes of the Nazarene, finding the spring, withdrawing from reality to find perfect inner peace.
And all of this leaves us with a huge, provocative question to think about. When you're facing existence with all its beauty and all its horror, which path is the ultimate affirmation of life? Is it to climb the mountain and master the world, or to find peace by the spring and transcend it?